नमस्कार. नमस्कार. सकाळ समूहाच्या वतीने मी आपल्या सर्वांचं आज स्वागत करते. आजचा आपला वेबिनार आहे इनसाइड द माइंड ऑफ अ बुली आणि आजचे आपले स्पेशल गेस्ट आहे जे आपल्या वेट वी आर इन दिस टुगेदरच्या वेबसाईट वरती आपल्या काउन्सिलर आणि आपल्या थेरपिस्ट सुद्धा आहेत. ते आहेत डॉक्टर यशज्योती सिंग. एक थोडक्यात मी त्यांची माहिती सांगते. Dr. Yashjyoti Singh is the founder of Chetana Counseling Center. She is also a consultant, developmental and educational psychologist based in Pune. She is also the head of department and consultant psychologist with Bishop Schools for the past 20 years. She conducts workshops on parenting skills, stress management, positive thinking, coping techniques, teacher training, memory improvement techniques, and organizes all of this at various schools and organizations. Her clinical work includes dealing with child of PTSD, anxiety, OCD, eating disorders, etc. She's been consultant psychologist at hospitals including Ruby Hall and Sayadi. Thank you, Dr. Yashjyoti, for coming here today. It's such a pleasure to have you once again. We've done so many interesting sessions with you, and every time there's so much of learning, in this field that you've been working with students and with teachers and parents for the last so many years. It's always an eye-opener listening to you talk, and I'm sure all our listeners also feel the same. So welcome for today's webinar. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure entirely being here.
So today our webinar is all about understanding what the mind of a bully is like. We see bullying in so many forms, not just for children and for teens, but we also see for adults as well in workspaces. You see that bullying at airports. In bullying is of various kinds. So today we wanted to really delve into the mind of a bully and understand that what makes a bully in the first place. What is the social conditioning, the home background? Is it that you watch your parents or your family members? So what really goes on into the making of a bully?
Yes, I'm so glad that this topic, first of all, has been taken up. And bullying, the most important thing is, what is bullying? What are we talking about? So we are talking about something which is persistent, deliberate, mean, and it is targeted either towards an individual or a group, and it could be something which is either physical, social, cognitive. So it is something where it is a very, very planned, repeated kind of an act ज्याच्यामुळे समोरच्या व्यक्तीला अतिशय powerless feel होतं. And because of that, he feels extremely insecure and scared. आणि हे जी गोष्ट आहे, we are not born bullies. Nobody is born a bully, So most important आहे की हे bullying का येतं. We are not justifying bullying का होतंय, but it's the worst act to be done. पण bullying सुद्धा एक need आहे. कारण की any child who's gone through a severe, kind of acquired childhood syndrome, किंवा experiences which have been there, acute symptoms which have been there, आणि कुठेतरी त्या मुलाची नीड जी आहे ऑफ सिक्युरिटी, लव्ह आणि सेफ्टी, ती कुठेतरी जर शेकन अप झालेली आहे, तर दिस बिकम्स अ डिफेन्स मेकॅनिझम फॉर द चाइल्ड अँड देन लेटर ऑन मे बी इवन अन अडल्ट. तर त्या मुलाचं, से फॉर एक्झाम्पल, म्हणजे ह्या मुलाला लहानपणी, it could be at various levels the neglect. It could be neglect, it could be physical neglect, where primary basic त्याच्या feeding आणि hygiene has been neglected. Or it could be something where it is more at a psychosocial level, जेव्हा he has been completely ignored, neglected, no physical hugging, lot of primary caretakers. तर ह्याच्यामुळे सुद्धा the child becomes insecure. आणि basically what happens because of this kind of insecurity and lack of safety, which sets into the child, is that त्या मुलाला किंवा मुलीला मग it becomes fend for themselves. तर मग हे kind of defense mechanism त्यांची होऊन जाते, which is wrong. But it becomes, so what happens in this? How does it manifest? Basically, it's a power struggle. So it becomes like, important for them to feel absolutely safe, absolutely powerful, and absolutely wanted in a particular group. त्याच्यामुळे the most important kind of things that happens is, how do you gain security in a group? You gain security by asserting yourself. You kind of make it prominent that, okay, this is my group. and to belong to my group, हे ह्या गोष्टी करतील, and power is the way I'm asserting myself. It also becomes a way of for the child to feel की जर मला लाईक स्टिरिओटायपिंग मध्ये जे आपण बघतो की पॉप्युलॅरिटी म्हणजे कसं पॉप्युलॅरिटी येते, इट कम्स बाय बीइंग दिस हिरो, दिस माचो इन द ग्रुप, ट्राइंग टू काइंड ऑफ डॉमिनेट बाय bullying, hitting, doing things because of which people are scared to assert. खूप वेळा हे त्याचं बिहेवियर जे असतं ते रिवॉर्ड पण होतं, कारण की लोक घाबरतात, मुलं घाबरतात त्याच्यासमोर, म्हणून त्याला जे हवंय ते करतात आणि त्याच्यामुळे हे बिहेवियर रिइन्फोर्स होतं. आणि बिकॉज ते रिइन्फोर्स होत जातं, ते रिवॉर्ड सिस्टम त्याला जो मिळत जातो, त्याच्यामुळे हे बिहेवियर इट बिकम्स लाईक अ पॅटर्न फॉर हिम कंटिन्युअसली. ऑल्सो व्हॉट हॅपन्स इज दॅट very often it is payback. Lot of the bullies have been victims themselves, and because of that it becomes a norm for them that every time I see somebody weaker than me, मी तसंच करणारे जे माझ्याबरोबर होतंय, and खूप वेळा it also becomes a need for trying to assert out of home, कारण की जेव्हा घरी sometimes there could be faulty dynamics, there could be socio-emotional causes which are there, and in order to feel worthwhile, in order to feel good self-esteem, he tries to assert in ways where he gets to become a decision maker. So there are a whole lot of multiple reasons why a person becomes bully, but the main crux of the thing is it's a power struggle. It is something which has come out of the need of a child not being satiated with safety and feelings of self-worth. And मग ते शोधत he goes outside in order to survive. It becomes a survival mechanism for the child. So these could be just some of the crux point. Also, very often it depends on behaviors which are modeled at home. So there could be learned behaviors which are there also. So these are the primary things. Sometimes they can't control their impulses, lack of disciplining at home, not being told what is right and wrong. So then becomes the birth of a bully, but it's not necessary that a bully remains a bully all his life. He or she can be treated if it is nipped in the bud and if it is identified early in life.
That's really interesting. So when you talk of the attitude of bullying being nipped in the bud, so how does one go about doing that? As a parent, if you are raising a bully or you have a child that's bullying, so usually what happens is we will, sympathize, say, with the victim, or the parents of the victims are usually very concerned that my child is getting bullied. But how does a parent whose child is the bully himself or herself, what is something that they should be watching out for? I mean, how do they nip it in the bud? What should be the first couple of steps for that?
First, most important is that be aware. When a feedback is given, do not be defensive, because it starts off from there where parents sometimes are in denial. It's like, no, he's just asserting himself, or maybe, त्याच्याबरोबर असं कोणीतरी काय केलं असेल. So the first most important thing is be open. And it can be rectified primarily by them. कारण की घरचं वातावरण is important. Second very important thing is communication. Communicating with that child, finding out what's going wrong, finding out on a regular basis what are his triggers which are there, is going to help them identify why my child is becoming a bully. Third very important thing, an introspection into their own family dynamics. You kind of seeing, is there a bully in the house? Is one of the parents a bully? Is there a bully dynamic between marital relationships, which is there, or between other extended family relationships which are there? Very often we hear की नाही नाही त्यांना सांगू नका हा, ते खूप म्हणजे कडक आहे, and ते काय ऐकणार नाही आमचं. But these are signs of bullying. If everybody in the house does not have an equal share of contribution of opinions, if somebody just dominates and says it's this has to be done, so change that dynamics in the first place. Reflect what these dynamics are and what kind of a precedent you are setting for your child, because the child is watching you very, very keenly. Also in the initial years, especially in the first 5 years, खूप वेळा parents kind of laugh it off. की नाही he is so kind of naughty आणि तो जाऊन मारतो मुलांना आणि they laugh it off and they tell the family also आणि कसला daring आहे हा, हे जाऊन घाबरत नाही कोणाला, and these are the kind of statements which are said with so much of pride. It's like तो कोणाचं ऐकूनच घेत नाही, आता मी काय करू, it's like, stop, this is a red flag. Why is your child over asserting, dominating in a group all the time? Why is he getting physical? Whenever you hear of your child hitting out a lot, being aggressive in a group, trying to dominate through acts which are socially unacceptable, pay heed to it. आणि हे जितकं लवकर तुम्ही pay heed केलं, it is going to be beneficial for the child. Also, the kind of reward systems that you have at home, also the kind of discipline strategies and reinforcements that you have at home. The tumche reinforcement systems, are they like, are you using a lot of bullying as a discipline, a technique at home? म्हणजे काही झालं नाही तर मार फटका, काही झालं नाही तर abuse, hit below the belt, taunting करा, काहीतरी असं बोला की ज्याच्यामुळे त्या मुलाला इतकं वाईट वाटणार की he'll feel he's worthless. Statements like तू उगीच झाला, तू चूक आहे, this is wrong, तुला काहीच येत नाही. Now these are things the child, every time he's going to feel incapacitated or he feels weak himself, बाहेर गेला की तो हेच शब्द वापरणार आहे. आणि these are all emotional bullying which is starting off. आणि मग हे जेव्हा तो वापरतो दुसऱ्यांबरोबर किंवा तो कोणाला मारतो आणि that person समोरचा bully नाही आहे, तो then he feels, wow, I am so strong. तर म्हणून हे टॅप करणं खूप गरजेचं आहे की तुमचं डिसिप्लिन स्ट्रॅटेजी काय आहे आणि आर यू मॉडेलिंग इट नॉट इन ओनली इन युअर ओन रिलेशनशिप्स बट इन द वे यू आर ट्रीटिंग द चाइल्ड. ऑल्सो कधीतरी सिबलिंग रायव्हलरी जे असते, तुमचे बाकीचे जे भावंड असतात त्याच्यामध्ये बुलिंग होऊन राहिलंय का, मग तुम्ही ते अड्रेस करताय का ते प्रॉब्लेम, दॅट इज ऑल्सो व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. पेरेंट्स in fact have to remember this huge concept of social buffering. Social buffering is basically when research has shown ki if bullying can be stopped and even the victim, if he can be addressed the problem, social buffering means always being there with these emotions which the child is feeling. So if you are going to be a primary caretaker who's caring, who's understanding, who's unconditional, that child is going to feel safer आणि त्याला हे सगळं करण्याची गरज नाहीये. So first of all, being this overly expecting parent, overly expecting, demanding of every activity, त्या चाइल्डला ट्रॉफी चाइल्ड म्हणून ठेवणं की हेच करायला हवं, हे सुद्धा करायला हवं, and then the child feels की मी worthless आहे जर त्याला काही जमलं नाही तर, मग तो बाहेर जाऊन त्याची worth दाखवतो. So parents, if you find signs, if you detect certain things, see your own precedent at home, हे सगळं जर तुम्हाला असं वाटलं की आफ्टर बोलण्यानंतर सुद्धा ते अड्रेस होऊ शकत नाहीये, गेट द स्कूल सपोर्ट. ऑल्सो फाइंड आउट की शाळेमध्ये तो कसा आहे, गेट द टीचर सपोर्ट की शाळेमध्ये त्याला रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जेव्हा द्याल, प्लीज correct him, किंवा these are the reinforcements that can be given. And जास्तच हे झालं तर मग seek professional therapy right from the beginning. Don't wait to a point where the child has become a teenager and it's more difficult now at this point, or there are ways in which now this bully, see, if bullying they gets unaddressed, मग substance abuse पण सुरू होतं, so there are a whole lot of vicious things which are going to happen. तर address it, accept it, communicate, be a social buffer for your child, and most important, don't demean him. So don't take law into your action by kind of giving out these kind of things. Yes, reinforce him negatively, positively, which are appropriate method. But if you feel that the bullying is exceeding a particular level and it needs external agencies to address it, then please do that also. So
This
I
is so
think that is
interesting and insightful. Yes, what you just said, because one really has to, like, as you said, the family dynamics, to be able to introspect and see की स्वतःच्या family dynamics कसे आहेत आणि how are we really talking to our children. So many things come from that. Now, as we also look at bullying, this is one part of it, ki physical bullying, going into a school and then you are bullying. But now bullying is also online. You're also, and these things parents may not find out, that actually your child or your teenager is being bullied online, bullied by friends in a WhatsApp group, or this could be under peer pressure or under all of that. So how does one watch out for these red flags, which is bullying online specifically?
So bullying online is as dangerous, if not more. And basically, you can, kind of intercept and find out if your child is suddenly very withdrawn, lack of appetite, नीट झोपत नाहीये, घाबरलेला आहे जरा, किंवा प्रत्येक वेळा त्याला खूप सारे unknown messages येऊन राहिलेले. Media वरती, like, every time he's going on media, there's a altered reactions in his body. तो अतिशय क्लिंगी झालेला आहे. त्याची बेसिक पर्सनॅलिटी जी जर एक्स्ट्रीमली ऍक्टिव्ह आणि जॉयफुल असेल, ती एक्स्ट्रीमली ऑपोजिट झालेली आहे. आणि मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट की झोप लागत नाही. झोप लागत नाही, नीट खात नाही, अँड वेल लॉट ऑफ देम स्टार्ट बिकमिंग व्हेरी अँशियस, रेक्लुसिव्ह, बाहेर जात नाही कुठे. तर हे सगळ्या गोष्टी, when the minute you find out that your child is little different, you have to communicate, you have to ask what's bothering. And when you're communicating with the child, you have to be in that kind of a thing where you're not giving signals of judgment, where you're not, kind of signaling ki aso hu shakat nahi. And you just have to start this communication with saying that I can see something's bothering you, I'd like to help, would you like to talk about it? And monitor the child a little closely, especially if the child is younger, when online classes are going on, or when, you see a lot of children are spending time because there's lesser to do outside. So when they're spending time online, there has to be monitored time here also. So find out also from the history where he's been, what sites have been there. Very often children approach you, but before they say something, they keep quiet, कारण की bullyचा अतिशय भीती बसलेली असते. So this is where overall only, not only with bullying, just being completely aware of your child. That's why being a, qualitatively hands-on parent. I'm not saying spend time, but even that time which you get with the child, watch, listen, see, intercept. It's your child. You know him, her the best. So any different signs which are there, especially psychosomatic signs of sudden stomach ache, sudden nausea, suddenly saying that, मला मूड नाहीये, कुठे बाहेर जायचं ठरवलं की नो आय एम नॉट कमिंग, समटाइम्स आस्किंग व्हेरी वियर्ड क्वेश्चन्स की हे असं झालं तर कोणी काही करू शकतं का आपल्याला, सो लिटल लिटल थिंग्स विच गेट पिक्ड अप, असे की हा असं काय विचारतोय, लाईक दिस इज समथिंग सो वियर्ड. सो दिस इज व्हॉट नीड्स टू बी पिक्ड अप immediately where the child is concerned. And in this cyber bullying also, I think educating the child about cyberbullying, a lot of the schools are already doing that, but I think if the parents also can psychoeducate the child on what are the kinds of bullying, first of all, what is bullying, what is cyberbullying, आणि हे होतं, so sometimes parents don't believe a child, sometimes they don't understand it, because even to the parents a lot of the things are new. In fact, even for us, 1.5, 2 years back, when there were so many cases of cyberbullying coming up, we actually had to, sit with a cyber specialist and find out what are the ways that a person can intercept. Like there's so many ways of bullying online. Say, for example, there is exclusion. So when the child just, in a group, there's a school discussion happening, a classroom discussion, this child is being deliberately sidelined by a whole group of people, or he or she is not being included in conversations, or deliberately their posts or their comments are being ignored or not liked. And, you could make out that this child is being completely excluded from a conversation. Now that is bullying. That is extremely insulting for a child. Or it could be harassment, which is even worse. So harassment is basically bullying which extends to even personal protected characteristics like age, sex, sexual identity, color, caste, creed. So purposely, deliberately putting up personal things about the child or adult, or sharing information, or purposely putting up fake news about the person online on a group, so that this person gets mocked at and feels powerless. There's also something, which is called outing. So outing is when you put out information which the child has shared with you in trust, or photographs without the child's permission or adult's permission. Here I'm using the word child, but remember this applies to adults also. Then there's something which is called frapping, where you sign in as that person. And then when you've signed in from your social networking as that person, you do a lot of masti. You write all sorts of nonsense to people, and they think you've written it. There's something called catfishing, where you kind of use the child's or adult's only name or only photograph and recreate your own account, which is there, and then people think it's again from them. So there are a whole variety of online bullying which happens, and I think the parents themselves need to get educated on what kind of online bullying can happen. There's stalking, which again could lead very often to sexual abuse. In fact, sexual abuse um, is an offshoot of cyberbullying, where obscene text is sent, pictures are asked, those pictures are shared, and these all come under the POCSO law then. And children should be aware that if there is somebody who is asking for these, they must report it. If someone's asking for pictures, they need to kind of be aware not to share these kind of things. So it also is when sometimes it's called tricking, where an adult or unknown person or an elderly person or somebody of their own age starts becoming so friendly online, is very warm, is very good, and then slowly takes out a lot of information and then uses that information to out you, or to do these kind of things. So cyberbullying can have huge impacts, and the parents need to first understand that the signs and symptoms of the child becoming different, and why is the child so scared every time he's near the media, is something they need to be aware of.
Absolutely. I think what you just said about so many forms of cyberbullying, I don't think many parents would even be aware of what catfishing and all of these different forms of cyberbullying are. And I think that what you just suggested, that to be first be educated about what kinds of cyberbullying is going on, and only then one can be in a position to understand and help out. As we are now discussing that what this bullying may look like in for in schools, or like as teenagers are more into the social media, so social bullying. So now that the bully is now growing up into from a school into into a teenager, and the whole aggression or the whole the way the power game is still going on. So what happens to a bully as they are becoming an adult, as you're becoming a young adult and you're going to university, or now that you're looking for a job? So does that same trait carry on if it's not being checked? How does this really span out as you grow up into an adult? And the bullying, does it still continue? How does it take a different shape as you, now that you are a grown up adult with that?
In fact, that person, if unaddressed, the bully in childhood, definitely continues being a bully. And very often people just associated, like saying that, he's like that only, or his personality is like that, or, he's a bully. How does it manifest in adulthood? It manifests into every relationship. So whether it's with your life partner, whether it is with your children, whether it is at work, and if you're a boss, with your subordinates or your colleagues. So it infiltrates into every domain of life. And you see a lot of them, kind of being the people who are extremely rude to their parents, to elders at home. And it just becomes that people are scared of him. And a lot of our families have one member who could be like that. And that's why we need to look back and say, why is this person allowed to become so dominating and so aggressive? And definitely it's not being stopped at. And then because this behavior, like we said, continues being rewarded, because everybody listens, everybody is scared, everybody, no one has the guts to voice against this person, it continues. So then it could be in different forms. It could be probably bullying, which is verbal, where this person is constantly abusing, constantly using words which are inappropriate, constantly putting down somebody, at the drop of a hat, constantly saying, you're crazy, you don't know anything, you're this, or using words which are seriously offensive. So it could be verbal bullying, which kind of just becomes a pattern, and that person has no remorse. The person now has no guilt also, by saying that, so what's there? I've always used it. You better accept it. Or it could become physical bullying, where the person is lashing out physically. So it could be a child. So there could be a parent who's using a lot of corporal punishment all the time, hitting out. And it's because he thinks that's the right way to do it. And why has he become like that? Because it got unaddressed in childhood. It could be with a partner. When we see domestic violence, why is domestic violence happening? Who are these people who are doing the domestic violence? They are bullies, and at this point is where again it's a manifestation, clear cut manifestation. There are people who ill treat their parents, lash out at them, hit them, kind of don't allow them to put in an opinion or say things. That's another form of bullying which happens. Then there are these bullies who are there at work, whereas they misuse their power wherever they go. So as a boss, absolutely inconsiderate of colleagues and subordinates. There's lack of empathy which kind of sets in. So, if somebody comes in and puts in a request, it's like, no, no, no. There's just an inability to understand from another person's point of view. And it could, kind of infiltrate into becoming personality disorders also. They could become psychiatric disorders also with it, where you have certain things which are extremely authoritative, and it becomes part of this whole demeanor that you have kind of gathered over all these years. It could also become very passive kind of aggression, where a lot of times we can see it, but we really don't know that is it aggression. And then it's like, hey, yes, you need to be aware passive aggression is also a form of aggression. And if somebody is doing it constantly to you with the intent of making you feel small, he is bullying you, and it needs to be addressed. And what is this passive aggression? It is when someone's being sarcastic, someone's hitting below the belt, passing comments in a group, purposely laughing at you, making jokes at your expense in a group, or every time you come, there's a changed body language, there's rolling of eyes, and making those faces. And this is all passive aggression, or purposely giving you extra work, or kind of never appreciating. If you're giving an opinion about something, just discarding and saying, tula kai siyat nahi, and these kind of things. So that is passive aggression. So it's very important to address childhood bullying, so that a lot of bullying in adulthood gets stopped, because having bullies around is detrimental to our society, because it's not good for everybody's growth. And they remain at their level of being insecure. A bully will never be a bully when he gets that sense of security, that sense of safety, which he's doing this bullying because of. So addressing bullies becomes important, because they will be happier people themselves. And because they are going to be happier, more safe, stable, more safe, they don't need to defend and feel secure by doing all this. Their families are going to be in a much safer space. And a bully is setting an example to another little child to become a bully. And it just goes on and on and on. And sometimes here, our Indian culture with its misogynistic attitude, a lot of times boys are not corrected at home to a large extent, because it's like, he's allowed, he's come with a lot of more perks and rights and things like that. And if there's a sibling fight going on, and so a lot of these things have to be changed at grassroots level, where we need to address equality of humanity. When we talk of bullying, we are talking about one power and one powerless. Why this one wants power also starts off because he was at one point powerless and there was somebody else who was very powerful. The minute we start respecting humanity, equal rights, accept a person for who he is, how he is, and just let them be, it's going to be a way happier place, and everyone's just going to be unconditional with each other.
Absolutely. I think what you shared was, I think we all see this in our everyday walks of life. Everything that you've just mentioned, at some form or the other, we have, I think, all, experienced this, at least observing, witnessing. Now, let's also look at from the point of view of the, of the victim. That you are in a group where you are being bullied, where you are being catfished, where you are being sidelined. How do we really, how do we empower the victim to be able to stand up for themselves, and how to be able to not just be like an observer? How do you really ensure that you are also reaching out and supporting when you're seeing that this bullying is happening in front of you. Not to just be a bystander, but how to actually also raise your voice and collectively support the person who's being bullied. So let's talk about the victim first. How do you empower the victim? How should one handle oneself?
Okay, so before we go on to empowering the victim, let's see what the victim is going through, because there's a lot he is going through. So the victim himself, before he comes to empowerment, uh, needs to first be addressed with everything that he is going through first. But the other very important point that you brought up about the bystanders and what should they do? Because very often rewarded behaviors happen because nobody takes action. So I think this bully will be more intimidated to continue his bullying acts if he knows people around are going to make a noise, because believe me, they are the biggest cowards and they are extremely scared to do anything if they come to know somebody is a little more powerful than them. So if bystanders, very often bystanders, if it's a group of children, could be another child itself. And very often that particular child might be too scared himself because he can see what's happening. So as a bystander, colleague of a young child, they don't land up doing much, but they do something very significant by going and sharing it with their parents at home. आई आज असं झालं त्या ह्याला राहुलला एवढं मारलं त्यांनी, this, that, and all. Don't just listen to it because your son was not hit. Make a noise about it. Go talk to that Rahul's mother. Let her know what happened to Rahul. Then that is the time when you use teachable moments with your children and talk to them about bullying, talk to them about what you could do. And the most important thing is come home and tell somebody about it. Always encourage a child, however scared he is, because obviously they've been threatened not to talk about it, that they are more powerful than the bully. The bully makes himself or herself out to be so powerful in the child, the victim's eyes, that they feel that they are invincible and nobody can protect them. So year after year, they are tolerating this nonsense. But if the parent, in course of conversation with the child, regular daily conversations also lets them know that anything happens to you, you must come and tell us. Remember, we will help you. And if there's any instance which has happened to a neighbor, somebody, a little animal around you, and you have shown that you care, your child will realize that you're in a position of power. You're the kind, it makes a difference to you to see hurt. It bothers you if somebody is getting impacted. And that's when the child is going to feel encouraged to come and tell you that, असं माझ्याबरोबर सुद्धा झालं, and that kind of a thing. Immediately take action as a parent when something like that happens. The other very important thing is for the child to make eye contact with the bully. It gets difficult, I know, but this is a tip which really helps. The minute you make eye contact with the bully, there is a little bit of intimidation that happens. But very often, because one is scared and one is looking away and things like that. The other thing, a lot of children through the years, when we've spoken to them and asked them that, what really helped you, especially pre-teens and teenagers during bully, they said, if we laughed, if they're cracking jokes about us and if they're trying to this thing, we also laugh. And suddenly they're like, hey, dal yahan nahi gal rahi hai. This person is only laughing at himself and humorizing the situation and things like that. Again, it becomes a thing that where it kind of becomes something which helps to a large extent. The other very important thing is, if it's on a cyber thing, block the person completely, report it, keep evidence. If there have been texts which have been sent, obscene texts or pictures which have been sent to you, screenshot it, keep it. All the evidences have to be kept. If there are bruises, marks and things like that, go home immediately and show those bruises. Don't hide those bruises. We've had children who've come to us after months and then say that, this happened. I said, how did you manage to camouflage it? Would wear full sleeve shirts, would wear sweatshirts, even in summer. And, so here, make it evident. This is the bruise, because that's when even an FIR can be lodged and police can help to a large extent. Not that evidence is needed. Please remember, children, evidence is not needed. You come and tell, it will get investigated. So uh, reporting is very, very important. And what is most important is that child should remember, and this is where the parent needs to, kind of understand that this bully is not a strong person. This bully is the weakest and most cowardly person who's there. And very often, the bully is also bullying somebody because they are intimidated by this person's cleverness, smartness. They're jealous of this person. So make it a point to make your child have a good self-esteem. The minute your child has a good self-esteem, he will not get bullied. He will nip it himself in the first, kind of instance and say, why are you talking to me like that? And go and report it to a teacher. But if a child is intimidated by himself because at home, his home environment also makes him out to feel like you know nothing or you're not good at anything, these are easy victims. So empower your children at any cost at home. In fact, parenting becomes so important because we're talking of bullying. We are emphasizing on so many parental aspects, but here it becomes important from the day your child is born. In fact, from the time of conception, parenting has started. And the way you treat your child, the kind of messages the child is getting, the kind of environmental cues the what child is watching, the kind of security, safety messages that you're giving your child is so important, because every little message is getting somewhere scripted. And that scripting, especially at a younger age, is something which the child then starts forming reactions to, starts forming his own defense mechanisms. And therefore, from the beginning, bullying, you can't just help a child with self-esteem after bullying has happened. Of course, it can be then rectified and helped. But from the beginning, if the child is treated with respect, irrespective of whether he's good, bad, whatever it is, having realistic expectations, which I keep reiterating, because when parents, very often to a large extent, um, the whole professional kundali is mapped out for the child during pregnancy. And before the child is even born, they've decided everything for the child. It's like, please, this child is coming through you, not for you. This child has come with his own blueprint in life. This child has come with his own cycles of what he has to learn and not learn, and what he's going to be gifted at. So just let the child bloom, watch, let him unravel, let him have his weaknesses, his flaws, his mistakes. Don't already cover up and overcompensate from beginning by putting him in all sorts of classes, and then he burns out, and then he feels horrible, he becomes a bully, or he becomes a victim. So that becomes really important as far as addressing it.
Yeah, I think what you said, using humor, as if you're being able to laugh at your own joke. I think that's a really good way to throw the bully off guard, to be able to use humor. So that was a very interesting thing that you just said, and that is something that can be practically used by everyone as well. What other ways, in your experience, that you have been like a therapist for so many years with children, so this is something that's just requires a little bit of presence of mind, or maybe shouting, screaming, or getting attention may be a little difficult, but be able to say, laugh it off, look in the eye, are things that you can find courage to do. So I mean, can you explain more on this, that when you are saying look at the bully in the eye and use humor to be able to throw the bully off guard, what more can a person really do? Because when you are really in that position, it's one doesn't know exactly what am I supposed to do when you're at that spot themselves. So besides looking into the eye and using laughing at yourself, which is very interesting what you just said, what else have you can you could
Play
you
victim.
elaborate on that like a little bit more and give tell us?
Yeah. Very often we tell children when they have had repeated episodes that just play victim if you can't get away. And play victim with huge drama. Fall. Pretend you're out, unconscious, do whatever, so that the bully stops at that point. And the bully also gets intimidated, because especially if it's happening in school and a person has fallen and, kind of got into a state which is like this, then they know that authorities are going to be involved. So do drama, play victim, exaggerate what is happening during the scene, which is there, that is there. also we have actually kind of encouraged children to scream, especially in a school setting, because very often the bullies use strategic places probably, or in offices or wherever. So make it a point that in case you've already gone through an experience, then not to follow the bully at all, not to listen to what he has to say. Always have a buddy with you whom you trust to a large extent, and make it a point to report. That's the most important thing. But while the incident is happening, I think what is happening to a large extent is throwing back questions at the bully. There's calling you names and things like that. So say, but why? But why? 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 It irritates them to a large extent. But because they're so baffled and trying to give you answers, the physical part of it sometimes then can be, sometimes the bullying can be so bad. Like there are times when children have come to us at the clinic and things like that, where nipple pinching goes on at pre-adolescent stage, especially if a child is a little bit on the plumper side. Especially for boys this happens. Or they put a cloth over the head, and the child gets completely breathless. Or all of them get together, and 4 or 5 of these bullies who are in a team now, who under pressure also do what the main bully is, go knock him on the head. Or every time something is happening, so it happens in such subtle ways. So very often the child is caught off guard. But the child needs to know already that if this has happened to you once, then if somebody knocks you once on the head, you immediately go and tell the teacher, or change your place and sit right in front. So make yourself into strategic locations where you are going to be observed by others. Do not be in secluded areas. Do not go to areas. Sometimes it happens in washrooms. So when you go to the washroom, make it a point to tell somebody you're going to the washroom, so they know if you're going to be there for a longer time, then there is something missing. Ask if a buddy could be, kind of taken at least till the washroom and wait outside. So these kind of defense mechanisms that children very often start using on their own, and it has really helped sometimes at least evade the intensity of the impact which is there. But I'd like to just highlight a little bit on what really happens to a bully. So when this what happens to the victim of bullying, why bullying is such a crime, and why harassment, which is more clearly explained legally, kind of these things, becomes very, very debilitating for a child if it's unaddressed. Because this stress which continues over time if the bullying gets unaddressed, and that's why this huge appeal that please be vigilant, be aware as parents, passerbys, see if bullying is happening, because it leads to huge PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. What happens is there are, those stress hormones are constantly elevated when the stress is there, the cortisol levels. And over the long run, there is a complete stagnation, there are lower levels of cortisol. Now, there's obviously an impact of these elevated and flat levels of cortisol, which is there because everything is supposed to be secreted in certain levels. Now, this further impacts the hippocampus area. It also destroys some of the nerves which are the brain nerves which are there, which are responsible then for higher learning, for memory. So again, it impacts the grades of the victim who's there. Also, because you're being bullied, what are you in? You're always in fight flight situation. You're always alert. Ab to koi nahi aa raha hai. Now something is not happening. And because of that, you're constantly functioning at your amygdala level. Because you're at that level, again, higher learning is not taking place. And if your brain is going to be, constantly at this alert level, it's extremely straining. And because of that, again, what's happening is the prefrontal cortex is getting impacted. There's so many structural brain changes which are happening. The entire time the child is battling survival. It literally comes down to a point, especially when parents are unaware a child is being bullied, is all this is happening. And then because of this, what happens? Your circadian cycle gets impacted, because you're always there's so much happening in your brain that your sleep gets impacted. Now, if sleep deprivation gives its own cycle of things which is happening, this impacts the physical health, immunity goes down. There are so many other things. your maximum growth might not happen up to the extent which is there. Stress levels are all the time there, then it leads to psychosomatic syndrome, which is there, because of which, there are so many manifestations of ailments which are coming up purely because of the emotional harassment and bullying which is happening. And it leads to a lot of anxiety, it leads to depression, it leads to self-harm and even suicidal ideation, uh, to a large extent, because they just feel so helpless. To be in a state of helplessness year after year after year, is extremely horrible. It's like literally being a rape victim, and that kind of a feeling that you have. And very often what happens is they get into this kind of defense where they start blaming themselves, and they kind of start doubting, why me? Is it because I have got it on? And then that leads to low self esteem. It leads to, either you externalize and have symptoms which are there of having faulty dynamics, having substance abuse, having anger issues and mood dysregulations, or you have internalized things where you're just low self esteem, you just feel worthless. And this has to be addressed. Bullying is a huge crime, and the victim goes through so much. And there are children I've been dealing with year after year, and it is horrible seeing, why should a child suffer? Why should somebody else dictate to a child? And here, parents, be alert. Your biggest task is be alert if your child is not being normal, if your child is not being happy. The child's job in life is to be happy, is to be full of joy, to play, to cry, to do a little bit of musti around which does not harm anyone, to be wanting to do things. If your child is not that, get to the
Yes.
bottom of it. Let your child not suffer.
And what you just said right now, adding to the stress levels and the circadian rhythm, how we feel our prefrontal cortex, is that also for adults too? I mean, as even in workspaces that we have spoken of bullying, or, so this is something that even an adult will also, go through. So as we just spoke about what a child can do, I mean, how to understand the victim better, the steps that you mentioned before empowering them. Similarly, when you are facing bullying, seeing bullying happening on the street, or seeing bullying happening in a mall, or seeing bullying happening at your workplace, either you're observing or it's happening to you, then what are the steps that one should take if you are the victim yourself, or you're constantly watching somebody else be the victim? So as an adult, what is our role, what is our responsibility?
Report it, even if it's not happening to you. And if you're scared, I think you need to understand that you could be the next victim. So it's better to go and report something which is happening. And if you feel that it's going to impact your reputation, do it anonymously, but do it. And it's best not to do it anonymously, but there are some people who don't like to get involved. So if you see it on the road, please call up the police. Just call up the police and say, this is what is happening here at this point. Because very often, like if there's fighting which is happening on street, and you don't feel empowered enough to go and intervene in the fight, which sometimes becomes impractical, call the cops immediately. Alert other people around. Other If a crowd gathers, automatically things get more under control. So, as a passerby, if you are going to be doing nothing, then you are a secondary bully yourself. Because if you're going to allow the victim to be abused in this manner and you do nothing about it, then you're an alibi to this whole thing. So I think reporting, calling up the right agencies, calling up the right person at that point is very important. Contacting authority, contacting an adult if you're a child becomes very, very important. But I think let's kind of, allow our conscience to be a little more active. We can't sleep after knowing, having those visions of that person being thoroughly beaten up, and you walked away. I think that's something which we slowly have to come to that point that no, I can't do that. I have to take action. So I know I couldn't go and stop the fight, but what could I have done? Think it over afterwards. The cops are alert. There are a lot of numbers. If you call up, give couple of people the task of calling up cops also. All of you all keep calling up the closest police station and the one which are around. There are some helplines which are available of NGOs which are there. Call up those NGOs. And these kind of things can be done.
Hmm. So I think what you said, having that conscience, that not to be just a bystander, and as a bystander, you are a secondary bully. I think this is really important for everyone to see that, because we do, as humans, as citizens, when we see this happening, it's very disheartening. One doesn't know sometimes, as you said, it's very difficult to intervene, but it's definitely possible to collect a crowd and to make a hue and cry about it, and at least save that person, at least for that, at that spot at least. And of course, in workspaces also, as you just mentioned, to be able to report and to be able to, even if it is anonymously, but being able to report and at least try to support the person who's going through that. So I think we've really covered a lot of interesting ways of looking at the bully, looking at the victim, looking at the family dynamics. And there's really so much, as you kept saying that bullying is a crime. I think we can keep on repeating this, reiterating this again and again, because, at some point or the other, if not bullying or being victims, we've at least heard of incidents, seen things, sometimes happening around you. And it's really important to take that action and have your, as you said, your subconscious, being conscious about what you're, not being a passive, observer. So I would really like to tell all, the people who are also listening to us, that Dr. Yajjoti Singh is also part of our, Wait, We Are in This Together website, as a part of our therapist, as a counseling team. And you can, get in touch with us. You can write into her. You can write into us if you ever need an appointment with her. We'll be very happy to help and schedule an appointment with her on our website as well. And this has been such an insightful conversation with you, as always. I think you seem to just open up that entire topic so so brilliantly, Dr. Yajjoti, and you give such practical tips as well, which is that it's all relatable. It's possible for us to help ourselves and help somebody else in distress as well. So thank you. I think with this, we are coming to the end of the webinar. And I see that we don't have too many questions, because you've really covered everything with so much, so much of depth, sharing your experiences as well. So thank you so much for being here, for coming to this webinar, and for really, discussing this topic in so much detail. And it's been very insightful. It's been, you really feel empowered when you know that this is what you can do, and this is what being a bully means. And you can see this in your home, in your family, just people around you. We all have witnessed this, and it's really important that you start becoming aware of these different forms and ways of bullying, and how everything begins. And at least we can discuss it, communicate about it at the family level. Family dynamics is something, it's all that we are in control of. And hopefully this has empowered everyone to also look within themselves, introspect, and see, where they can step up, step in, and, just hopefully, bring this entire bullying thing to an end, if possible. So